Herman's, there's kind of a hush. This is KXOL in Fort Worth. We're at the sound of the 20th century. It'll be 2 p.m. Red Chinese and Russians at it again. Another report of a child beating. Moderate warming trend to continue through the weekend. KXOL Radio News. Russ Bloxom for Leonard's.
Bring the family, there's a lot of things for you to see. Ride in comfort all the way on Leonard's Free Subway.
A miracle buy on a miracle fabric. Beautiful Dacron double knits, just $3.66 a yard at Leonard's. The miracle fabric that never wrinkles, never stretches, and never sags, even without lining. Dacron double knits in spring's prettiest new colors. The fabric that's machine washable and dries in a jiffy. A full 60 inches wide and priced at just $3.66 a yard at Leonard's. The store with everything you're looking for.
Check our subway aisle, always something there worthwhile. Items change from day to day, that's downstairs at the Free Subway.
The Red Chinese and Russians are at it again in Moscow. Some 100 Soviet police arrived at the Chinese embassy, tore down a display of anti-Soviet material, and, according to the Chinese, beat up 30 of the Red Chinese diplomats. The Russians say the claim that the diplomats were beaten is a lie. The display torn down by the Russians was of pictures of Red Chinese allegedly beaten by Russian police last week. A Red Chinese newsman says that after the Chinese put up the pictures in a case outside the embassy building, the Russians asked them to remove it. The Russians claim the photos were fake. The Chinese refused to remove the display, and they say that scores of Soviet police and plainclothesmen then carried off the display in a bus. The display about 2 feet inside Chinese embassy property. Police juvenile officers today told KXOL News that a 16-year-old boy has admitted the severe beating of a tiny 1-year-old girl. The victim of the attack, Barbara Elizabeth Miller, daughter of Mrs. Elizabeth Ann Miller of 1304 East Murphy, is in critical condition at Peter Smith Hospital. Officer Bud Anders said the baby was beaten on the head, back, and abdomen. He said the teenage boy, who was babysitting with Mrs. Miller's 7 children, admitted beating the little girl with his hands and a belt. He told officers he struck her after he caught her playing with a gas jet, and the boy told investigators he was hitting the baby with a belt when she slipped out of his grasp and hit her head on the floor. Investigators termed the beating unmerciful. They said the boy will be turned over to county juvenile officials. The southern sections of the state are mostly overcast, with the remainder of the state partly cloudy, except for fair skies in northwest Texas this afternoon. The Weather Bureau says showers are expected to dot lower regions of the state tonight and tomorrow. Meanwhile, temperatures should continue a moderate warming trend that forecasters say could continue until the middle of next week. Early afternoon temperatures generally in the 50s, ranging from 45 degrees at Fort Worth and Texarkana to 60 at Amarillo. KXOL time 2:03. A 7-year-old boy was killed, his mother injured in a one-car accident south of Weatherford on State Highway 171 this morning. Killed as the car went out of control and overturned was Kurt Baker, son of Mrs. Virgie Baker of Tantalos, New Mexico. His mother is undergoing treatment at a hospital in Weatherford. A hearing continued today in Congress on the pros and cons of the proposed consular treaty with Russia. Senate Democratic leader Mike Mansfield told a Senate group the treaty would help protect American travelers in Russia, but an American Legion representative contended it would give Russia a license to spy in this country. A former policeman, now working as an attendant at a 7-Eleven store at 2000 Vaughn Boulevard, fell victim to an armed bandit today, then caught the robber after a 5-block chase on foot. John Bohannon told KXOL News the bandit came into the store and waited until all the customers had left, then pulled a pistol. The robber cleaned out the cash register, fired 5 wild shots from the pistol, and fled. Bohannon gave chase, shouting robbery. A man and his wife joined in the chase, and at Avenue K and Thrall, the foot race ended as police patrolmen grabbed the suspect. The loot was recovered. Democratic Senator Proxmire of Wisconsin has fired off a blast at the administration, saying it underestimated last year's Vietnam War cost by $10 billion. Budget Director Charles Schutze was before Proxmire's committee, and he said it was difficult at first to know what the ultimate war requirements would be. City officials at Arlington are reported considering buying all facilities at the Arlington Municipal Airport for about $50,000. When the airport was first developed, the City of Arlington put in basic facilities such as runways and leased the plot to a firm known as Arlington Executive Air. The $50,000 purchase price would pay for all the airport's improvements and give the City of Arlington full control of the field. President Johnson is said to have sent a personal message to Russian leaders urging them not to engage in a costly new arms race. It's understood Johnson seeks a U.S.-Soviet agreement not to get into costly construction of new defenses against war missiles. Informants tell KXOL News Service wires in Moscow that so far there's been no Russian response to Johnson's appeal. Britain's Princess Margaret is hospitalized in London. There are reports she may be expecting her third child. An official spokesman says he can neither confirm nor deny this. Radar Weather is next.
You can find it at Leonard's. You can find almost 6 entire city blocks dedicated to the fulfillment of a promise made to the people of Fort Worth almost 48 years ago. A promise to build a business that will never know completion, but that will progress continually to meet advancing demands. Each year illuminates this promise with more service, more merchandise from which to choose, more convenience for you. You can find the world's only privately owned and operated department store Subway, the fabulous M&O. Whatever it is, whatever you need, you surely can find it at Leonard's.
Forecast for KXOL Country, partly cloudy and warmer this afternoon through tomorrow. High this afternoon, 58. Low tonight, 38. High tomorrow, 65. Winds light and variable, becoming southerly 10 to 15 miles per hour tomorrow. KXOL temperature 41 degrees. For Leonard's, this is Russ Bloxom. KXOL Radio News, Fort Worth.